Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to be looking at a bullish cross which everyone seems to have missed. And the last time this happened was 3 years ago when we went on a 600% ride to the summit of the last bull market. I'm also going to be looking at the greatest opportunity which I think is there, not just with Bitcoin, but something related to Bitcoin. And if I have time, I'll run through the time frames and see exactly what's happening. And I'll also go through the 60-day cycle to show exactly where we are and where we're heading in the shorter term. So if that sounds interesting, you know exactly what to do. Grab yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, eyes on the screen, and let's get cracking. Before I begin, the usual polite reminder, please remember everything in my videos is just for educational purposes. So please do your wider research before you make any investment decisions. So with that out of the way, I'm going to dive straight in with this fantastic cross that's coming up. And this is on the 12-day chart. Here it is here. You can see it quite clearly, but this hasn't actually closed yet. Currently, this is crossing and it started on the 26th of March and it will end on the 7th of April. So we've got 4 more days. So please keep an eye on this cross here. And the reason why this is very important, and the reason why this cross is very important is because the last time this occurred was back in May 2020. And what happened then was that we went on a rally of 600% all the way up to the top of that bull market in November 2021, and that was 600%. So these crosses are nothing to be messed around with. The previous cross to that one was in 2019 when we went up to the $14,000 mark. And the first of those crosses, and we've only had 3 in the past, that was back in November 2015 when we started this big bull market all the way up to the 20,000 in December 2017. So this is something not to be messed about with. This closes on the 7th of April, and if this cross occurs there will be people out there looking for this cross and putting money into Bitcoin. Okay, I'm going to show you something which is very important, which I haven't shown for about 2 years. One of the other channels has been covering it for many years actually, and it's a very good indicator. And the reason why I want to show you this today is because something very big has been happening over the last couple of weeks. That gives us a very strong clue as to where the Bitcoin price may be heading. If we go back to the first cycle, which ended up here in December 2013, we had this bear market down here first, and then we had this red channel afterwards. And when we got out of the red channel, we spent a lot of time in there, but once we got out above the red channel, we went on a massive bull run all the way up to the end of that cycle, like I said, in December 2013. And then once again, we went into this bear market down here. That caused the red channel all the way here. But once we got out of the channel at this point, we'd already bottomed out, the 2 double bottoms that we got then. Once we got above the red channel, that was the start of the big bull run all the way up to the end of December 2017. And in the last cycle, when we reached 69,000, and once again, after we reached the top at 20,000 here, we went into this bear market. That caused the red channel over here. But once we'd crossed above the red channel, we had obviously this COVID situation over here, but this was the beginning of the ride all the way up to the 64,000 and the 69,000. And the most important thing is what's happened just now. If we have a close look, we've had this bear market that's caused the red channel over here. So the price had fallen below it, but now we've got just above the red channel one more time. So if history is to repeat itself, and it is within the historical context of the Bitcoin price over the last 12-13 years, then this is what it's giving us now, the clue that this may well be on its way to much higher levels. And the important thing to remember is that once we do get above the red channel, we never retest the bottoms of the bear market. And the same occurred in 2019. Once we got above the red channel here, we never got back to retesting the 2018 lows of 3,100. So this is important to note. And for those people who are waiting for the price to come back down, it looks like with a very high degree of probability that this is not what it's going to be doing anytime soon. In the last video that I did on Friday, we looked at the 4 moving averages, the simple moving averages on the daily chart. Today we're going to have a look at the 3 exponential moving averages on the weekly chart, because that's showing us a very strong sign of where the Bitcoin price wants to go. And if we go back to the first cycle back here in 2012, we saw that before the cycle ended in December 2013 over here, we had a mini bear market, after which the 3 exponential moving averages, the blue being the 8 exponential moving average, the yellow being the 21, and the white being the 34. Once they'd lined up in that order with the 8, the 21 and the 34, that was the catalyst for the market to go all the way up to the top of the bull market over here. You can see that those lines never crossed and we went all the way up. And if we move to the second cycle, this is exactly what happened again. So we had the bear market, we had the 2 bottoms over here, and when those averages lined up one more time with the 8, the 21 and the 34, that's what took the market all the way up towards the top of that bull market over here in December 2017. So you can see those lines never crossed over. But in the last cycle that we've just had, there was obviously the COVID situation which complicated things. But if you look at it properly, but these lines came back in the order once again over here. And that was again the start of the next bull run all the way up to where we went to at 69,000. And currently, look what's happening here. But you can see the 21 is about to go above the 34. And once they're lined up, this is what's going to happen if the history is to repeat itself. So we wait for that cross within the next 2 weeks. And if we have a look at the monthly chart with the 8 EMA weaving its way through the price line, we can see quite clearly that it's giving us another massive clue as to where we're at within this current bull market that we're in. This was the end of the first cycle. The price fell below the 8 EMA, but once we got above it here, that was the start of the bull market. In the second cycle, we topped out here at 20,000, came back, the price fell below the 8 EMA, and once we got above the 8 EMA, that was the start of the next run all the way up to the 69,000. And if you're not convinced yet, once the price came back below the 8 EMA once again here, now we've got the third month that we've just closed where the price has actually closed above the 8 EMA. So everybody can make up their own mind exactly where we're at within the context of the bull cycles of the past. And this brings us nicely to the weekly chart and what's going on currently with these weekly candles, and the current one just closed yesterday. So we have this critical line here between 28,000 and 32,000. We found strong support over here, very strong support over here, time and time again. It kept coming down to this level to retest it. Then when we broke through down here, it retested it as resistance over here. But the support that we had in these 2 areas obviously then gave way over here, and we went all the way down. And now we're returning back to the same level one more time. And the thing is, we're consolidating and trying to get through this level without a correction down here. And when the price is very bullish, the price seems to hang around the resistance points for a prolonged period of time. So this is what we're getting at the moment. This is the 3rd week now that we've been trying to knock on the door of this 30,000. So far, this is the most critical level we've got to get through. Once we get above it, then that could well spell a big move to the upside. However, the bearish divergence on the OBV, the unbalanced volume, is very, very strong. And we've got a double divergence here. So I would suspect that perhaps we've got one more leg up, maybe up to the 32,000, before this divergence starts to play out. The fact that the price is trying to knock on the door of the 30,000 and doesn't have any appetite at the moment anyway to come back down to the 25,200, it suggests to me that we've got one more leg up to above the 30,000 level before coming back down and retesting the 25 here. We can see clearly that there's a divergence over here with this OBV line. There's another divergence here with this OBV line. So we've got a double divergence taking place here, and with a high degree of probability it has to play out. Which brings us nicely to the 60-day cycle. We can see quite clearly that the 60-day cycle we're in now is between these red lines here. The previous one finished after 70 days. We're in the midpoint over here, and the price is coming into this midpoint. We're consolidating at a higher level, maybe having one more push into the mid-cycle high towards the 30 to 32,000 mark over here before we go into the 60-day cycle low around the middle of May over here. And if you're looking for a swing trade, that would be a great opportunity to get in and have a swing trade. So wherever the price comes back down to, I would suggest if we do get above the 30,000 here, then a natural place would be to come back to the 25,200. But in a bullish trend, it doesn't always come back and retest the previous very strong resistance, which the 25,200 was. So it could well be that we go up at the 32,000 and only come back to retest this level here at around 28,800 before we make a strong move up there. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But this line here, the end of the 60-day cycle currently running until the middle of May, would present a very good opportunity to do a swing trade. And this may well be the last opportunity to buy to get into the 50,000, which we're expecting before the end of 2023. And I've shown you the reason why, and that's based on the historical context that at the end of a bear market, within the first year, or certainly before the next halving, the price tends to go to around about the 61.8 and the 78.6. And that puts it in the range of the price that we've got in mind between 40,000 and 50,000. So this here is the catalyst, as far as I can see, which could provide that bounce all the way up to the 50,000 mark. But if the price did come back to the 25,200 over here, that would be a fantastic opportunity to take a swing trade all the way up to the 50,000, and that would be 100% increase in the swing trade. So a lot of people do ask me about my strategy. Well, I have a long-term portfolio which only constitutes the Bitcoin miners. I don't hold Bitcoins. I hold the Bitcoin miners because to me that is the greatest opportunity that is presenting itself. And I want to take advantage of that. And everybody has to make up their own mind about what they do. There isn't a one strategy that fits all. So everybody has their own unique situation and you have to work out your own strategy. I'm only sharing with you my own strategy. My strategy is what I would call just a holding strategy virtually throughout this whole cycle, except for making some strategic adjustments. Example, around the 50,000. So at 50,000, I'm planning on taking a little bit off the table. Could be 25%, could be 50%. I'll have to decide as I get to that point. So my long-term portfolio strategy is really to hold all the way up to the top of the bull market, wherever that's going to be in the next 2 to 3 years. But I also have about 10% which I do swing trades, and most of my swing trades are on the Bitcoin miners. And that brings me nicely to the Bitcoin Miners Members Club. Quite a few of you have asked what we actually do there. So what we do with the Bitcoin Miners Club, we do a video every Wednesday, and we have a detailed look at companies that are mining the Bitcoin, especially now that, as we've seen, that the market for Bitcoin has now bottomed out and we can now look forward to a bull run for the next 2 to 3 years. And the opportunity is actually very, very simple. The Bitcoin miners are a leverage play on the Bitcoin. So what is a leverage play? Let me give you an example. Back in 2020, at the bottom of the COVID situation that we got over here, the market for Bitcoin went up to the 69,000, and that represented a 16x. At the same time, one of the main miners, Marathon Digital Holdings, went from March 2020 to the top of the bull market, and this was a 239x. So that was 15 times the price of Bitcoin. This is what we call a leverage play, that every time Bitcoin goes up by a certain amount, the Bitcoin miners go up by a multiple of that, up to about 15 times. And if you think that that just happened only once before, and it might not happen again, well, the current situation with Bitcoin, so when we bottomed out here at 15,400, at the current price now here, we're up to around about 83%. And if we have a look at one of the Bitcoin miners in the same period, when we bottomed out here, Cypher Mining, one of the Bitcoin miners, went up currently by 510%. So far, this is running at a 6x leverage on Bitcoin. And the leverage play hasn't really taken hold yet. So the beautiful thing is that we're right at the beginning of this massive opportunity of a Bitcoin miner's leverage play on the Bitcoin price for the next 2 to 3 years. The cost of joining the Bitcoin Miners Club, where we do a video every Wednesday, is actually $4.99 per month. But there's no obligation and there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time, hassle-free. And so far, we've covered 4 special features of small companies which have a massive potential to the upside with the leverage play on Bitcoin. We've also covered 2 swing trades in the last few weeks, which gave us a very quick profit of about 40% on both of those closing positions. And currently, I have one swing trade on a small company called Stronghold Mining, which I took last week, and currently that's up 15% with a target of 40%. If you want to be at the start of this amazing opportunity, all you have to do is click the join button over here, which is under all of my videos. And for those of you who have a mobile phone, you may not be able to see this join button, but there is a link in the description box below all of my videos where you can click there. So my next video is going to be this Wednesday. So if you want to join, then I'll see you there. You're very welcome to click the join button here or down here, whichever applies to you. Okay, so we'll leave it there. I hope you found value in the video. And if you did, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. If you have any comments, questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.